Everyone talks about how cheap it is to live in Myrtle Beach. Low property taxes, no state tax on Social Security, lower home prices than the Northeast. All of that is true. But cheaper than where you live now is not the same thing as actually knowing your numbers. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the real, honest cost of living here in 2026. Property taxes, insurance, HOA fees, utilities, groceries, healthcare, the whole picture, not just the headline numbers, the numbers that actually show up in your monthly budget. Quick note, if you'd like help running these numbers for your specific situation, my contact info and a link to book a call with me are in the description and pinned in the comments below. Okay, let's break this down. Here's how I want to walk you through this. There are really two kinds of costs when you move here. The first are the costs tied directly to owning a home, property taxes, insurance, and HOA fees. The second are the everyday costs of living, groceries, utilities, healthcare, gas, dining out, all of it. Most people who relocate here focus only on the first category because that's what shows up in a mortgage calculator. But the second category is what actually determines whether your monthly budget feels comfortable or tight. So let's go through both. And I want to be clear up front. The numbers I'm giving you today are realistic 2026 estimates. Your specific situation will vary based on the home you choose, the community, and your lifestyle. This is meant to give you a real framework, not a guarantee. Let's start with the good news because there genuinely is good news here. South Carolina has some of the lowest property taxes in the entire country, especially if this is going to be your primary residence. That's a really important word, primary. South Carolina has what's called the owner-occupied tax rate, sometimes called the 4% assessment ratio for primary residences. If this is a second home or investment property, you're taxed at a higher rate, at the 6% assessment ratio. So, step one, if you're moving here full-time, make sure you file for that owner-occupied exemption as soon as you close. It is not automatic, and it makes a real difference. Now, here's what this looks like in practice. For many of my clients coming from New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, or Massachusetts, I'm talking about a property tax bill that is often 1/3, sometimes 1/4 of what they were paying up north on a comparably priced home. On a $500,000 home here, with the owner-occupied exemption, you're often looking at somewhere in the range of $2,000 or $3,000 a year in property taxes. Not per month, per year. I've had clients tell me they had to read that number twice. And once you turn 65 for your primary residence, you'll qualify for the homestead exemption, which lowers your property tax even more. And on top of that, South Carolina does not tax Social Security income at all. That's a meaningful number for a lot of people I work with. And depending on your age and the type of retirement income you have, in some cases, pension income isn't taxed either. South Carolina offers a retirement income deduction for qualifying pensions. So if you're retiring with a pension, that's absolutely worth discussing with a tax professional as part of your overall numbers. Now, I have to be honest with you because that's the whole point of this video. There is one cost that catches almost everyone off guard, and that's homeowners insurance. Here's what's happening. We are a coastal market, and coastal markets across the Southeast have seen insurance premiums rise over the last few years. This has been driven by higher construction costs, changes in the reinsurance market, and storm risk along the coast. So while your property tax bill might be a pleasant shock, your insurance bill needs to be a part of your budget from the very beginning, not a surprise at the closing table. Here's the most important factor: roof age. Homes with newer roofs, especially new construction built to higher current roof level standards, are significantly easier to insure and at meaningfully lower premiums than older resale homes with roofs over 15 years old. There's also a difference between insuring a primary residence and insuring a second home or rental. Primary residences typically see better rates. Now, here's the balanced view. Yes, insurance here costs more than it did 5 years ago, but even with that increase, when you add up property taxes, no tax on Social Security, and insurance, the total picture here still very often comes out ahead of high-tax northern states and frequently ahead of Florida as well. I'll show you that full comparison in just a few minutes. On the Grand Strand, HOA fees vary widely depending on the type of community. A smaller single-family neighborhood with basic amenities might run somewhere in the range of $50 to $100 a month. A resort-style community with a pool, fitness center, pickleball, and clubhouse included, you might be looking at $150 to $300 a month, sometimes more if it includes lawn care. The key here is this: read what's included. A higher HOA fee that includes lawn care or fitness and pickleball facilities can sometimes save you money overall, once you factor in what you'd otherwise pay for a lawn service or access to the same amenities elsewhere. Now, utilities. This is actually one of the areas where coastal South Carolina compares very favorably. Electricity costs here tend to run lower than many northern states, even accounting for air conditioning running more months of the year. For a typical single-family home, you might budget somewhere in the range of $100 to $200 a month for electricity, depending on the size of the home, the time of year, and your electricity consumption habits. Water and sewer are generally affordable as well, often $40 to $70 a month for a typical household. Now let's talk about the day-to-day cost of living: groceries, dining out, healthcare, lifestyle. Groceries here are pretty close to the national average. If you're coming from a major metro area in the Northeast or California, you'll likely find groceries slightly less expensive here, not dramatically, but noticeably. And one thing I mentioned in my last video is worth repeating. Fresh seafood here is often less expensive than frozen seafood in a Midwest grocery store because it doesn't have to be shipped across the country. For everyday shopping, we have Costco, BJ's, Trader Joe's, Fresh Market, and Publix, so you're not sacrificing the stores you're used to. Healthcare is an important one too, especially for retirees. The Grand Strand has grown significantly in terms of medical infrastructure over the last decade. Multiple hospital systems, specialists, and urgent care options throughout the area. We have a new VA outpatient clinic as well, which is very convenient for our veterans. If you're on Medicare, it's worth doing your homework on which providers and facilities are in network here before you move. But most of my clients find the transition smoother than they expected. And I can't talk about the lifestyle costs here without mentioning golf. The Grand Strand is one of the top golf destinations in the entire country. We have over 70 golf courses within a short drive of each other. And because there's so much supply and so many golfers here year-round, greens fees are often lower than what you'd pay for comparable courses in other parts of the country. If golf is part of your retirement vision, and for a lot of my clients it is, that's a real ongoing cost that's actually lower here than where you might be coming from. One more everyday cost that adds up more than most people realize: gas prices. South Carolina consistently has some of the cheapest gas in the entire country. Right now, we're averaging somewhere around $3.65 to $3.70 a gallon, while states like Rhode Island are closer to $4.10. That's a gap of 35 to 50 cents a gallon, month after month, year after year. Part of that comes down to South Carolina having one of the lowest gas taxes in the entire country. And part of it is just geography. We're close to major refineries and ports along the Gulf Coast, so fuel doesn't have to travel as far to get to the pump. The Northeast, by comparison, relies much more heavily on imports, which means it's more exposed to global supply issues and price spikes. It's a small thing on any single tank, but over a year of errands, road trips, and visits to the grandkids, it adds up. So let's put this all together. When my clients run the full numbers, property taxes, insurance, HOA, utilities, groceries, healthcare, lifestyle, and compare it to what they were paying in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maryland, Ohio, the total picture here is almost always meaningfully lower. Not because any one number is dramatically smaller, but because property taxes alone often save people several $1,000s a year. And that more than offsets the increase in insurance. And when you compare it to Florida, where insurance costs are often significantly higher than here, the Grand Strand frequently comes out ahead of the total cost picture as well. This is exactly why I always tell people, don't make a decision based on just one number. Run the whole picture. If you'd like help running these numbers for your specific situation, your home value, your income, your lifestyle, my contact info and a link to book a free call are in the description and pinned in the comments. And if this was helpful, please save this video and share it with someone who's been doing this math on their own. I'll see you in the next one.